Good afternoon, Talk on the Block. Of course, this morning you waited and we waited. I was seriously under the impression that this statement would have been live at 8 o'clock, bang time, DBS, the nation station. But I did promise that I would get you a recording of the Prime Minister defending and shedding further light on the award of a contract to NSG, Management and Technical Services Limited, out of Barbados, for a major project in Roseville, which will include demolition and reconstruction of the new West Bridge. The Consultative Committee on the Construction and the local construction fraternity yesterday at a news conference raised several concerns. Over the contract. One being there are local companies with the experience for taking on such a project. But it looks like in a statement on Tuesday, the Prime Minister said the NSG has a proven track record and the company has made a commitment to work with local firms in the execution of the project. Furthermore, he also stated that the 70% of the contract price was 18 of the contract price, which is 18.2, will remain in Dominica. Let's listen in for a few minutes to the Prime Minister of Dominica.
I first wish to observe that the modus operandi of the President of the Joint Consultative Committee on the Construction Sector in making public the contents of a letter to the Prime Minister, even before giving the Prime Minister time to receive the said correspondence, is strikingly close to that of the opposition United Workers' Party and its political leader, Lennox Linton. Some persons even saw similarities between the writing style and tone of the letter. However, I am not in the business of speculation or conjecture, so I will leave that there. What I do know is that this new practice, introduced by the leader of the opposition and now adopted by the Builders Association, is unacceptable and will not be entertained by this Prime Minister. I will neither officially acknowledge receipt nor formally respond to correspondence related to me via the airwaves or on social media. I consider this fad an affront to the office of the Prime Minister and amounts to tabloid sensational press disguising a political agenda. It will not be given credence during my watch as Prime Minister of this country. I had a rather busy morning yesterday, and it was not until mid-afternoon that it was brought to my attention that a letter purportedly written to me was made public and discussed at a press conference even before it reached my desk. For me, such effrontery behavior signaled the beginning and the end of that particular interaction. If this professional body or any other would like to engage the Prime Minister or Minister of Finance on matters of interest or concern, there are century-old practices and conventions that can and must be followed. They can write a confidential letter to the Prime Minister or call and make an appointment to see the Prime Minister. But I will not be shouted across the airwaves by persons who, as far as I'm aware, are not supposed to be politically aligned or motivated. If the authors of the letter that was released yesterday are desirous of having a dialogue with the government, they are hereby advised to approach the matter in a dignified, respectful, and professional manner. So let it be understood that I shall not dignify such contemptible behavior with an acknowledgement of receipt, far less response. Now, for the information of the general public, I wish this morning to shed further light on the award of the contract for the construction of the new West Bridge and supporting works to NSG Management and Technical Services. Several months ago, the government of Dominica identified the vulnerabilities to the city of Roseau as a result of damage along the river and the threat that this continues to pose to residents and the conduct of business in the city. The Cabinet charged the Ministry of Public Works and Ports with the task of commencing work on the Roseau River Works as soon as possible and to complete repairs and improvements in the vicinity of the city before another weather system, be it flood, a tropical storm, or hurricane, risks turning the situation from bad to worse. This is all the more so given that the hurricane season starts on June 1st. Accordingly, Cabinet had no course other than to declare this an emergency. Many people remain unaware that the Ministry of Public Works is still battling under tremendous pressure since Tropical Storm Erica to undertake repairs island-wide. This is separate and apart from the normal scheduled infrastructure works. Therefore, Cabinet believed that it was critical that the government engage a company that was experienced in managing projects of this scale and complexity with the absolute need for delivery of the highest quality within the shortest possible time. This led to the engagement of NSG with its proven track record across the Caribbean in the areas that the Cabinet deemed important. It has been the experience of the government of Dominica that many contractors in the region want to bring their own equipment and manpower to the island, thereby denying the local construction industry opportunities to participate in the execution of public works projects. During our discussions, NSG was clear in their commitment to bring the experienced management team and to work with local firms in the execution of the project. They have agreed to a structure that enables the transfer of technology, systems, and general know-how, utilizing as much local labor, products, and services as possible. Additional resources will only be brought into Dominica by NSG when either it is essential so to do and when the resources are not available locally. And this is a very important point. So this idea of the government awarding a contract to a foreign company that will bring in labor, equipment, vehicles, etc., at the expense of local service and product providers is categorically wrong. Indeed, yesterday morning, when the two individuals were engaging the media, many local contractors, heavy equipment operators, and truckers were being shortlisted by the company for subcontracts to provide various services. It is clear to me from my discussions with officials of the Ministry of Public Works and officials of NSG that the vast majority, indeed in excess of 70% of the contract price, shall remain in Dominica as payment for products and services procured locally. Never before has such an accord been struck with a foreign company. The advantage of a company such as this in an emergency situation as we have at the West Bridge is that it is in a position to call on professional expertise and to access and utilize the very latest technology and methodology in the execution of this assignment. So not only will the best of what Dominica has be employed and utilized, but the project will also be able to lean heavily on the North American and European connections of NSG. In respect to pricing mechanism, an attempt to guess the cost and or value of the project based upon traditional methods and costing or how things have been done in the past is unfair and does not do justice to the commitment made on the part of the government to raise the standards. For the sake of clarity, the correct dimensions of the new West Bridge are 176 feet in length, retaining wall 341 feet in length, and 13 feet in height. Based on our recent experience with the exposure to Tropical Storm Erica, we requested and insisted on specifications that were previously not demanded. Henceforth, we have determined that structures are to be constructed on a higher design and quality control compared to what currently and formally obtained. Essentially, this project must and will be held to a much higher standard. This is a flagship project for Roseau and will showcase the commitment to have Roseau join the 21st century. The construction industry will be the better for seeing a higher standard of product, and the public will win as this will lead to lower maintenance costs and an extended life of structures. I do hope that eventually, when the full scope of works is made known and it is recognized that the Ministry of Public Works did a fantastic job in containing this project to $18 million, persons who casted unfair aspersions on the integrity of the system will be honest enough to retract those statements. In summary, NSG is a highly regarded company, both locally and regionally, with over 40 years of experience in the Caribbean, working on many large public and private development projects, including St. Vincent, where over US $30 million of work was completed on the new international airport for the supply of engineering services, project management for the design, supply, and commissioning of capital equipment. NSG engineers have considerable experience with the supply and construction of bridges. Recently, NSG won a World Bank tender in St. Lucia for the design and supply of 15 bridges. They also won the contract for the design and supply of 2 bridges for Trinidad and Tobago. NSG has a recent track record of performance in Dominica. Following Tropical Storm Erica, NSG sourced bridges to aid with the reopening of the West Coast Road. Their engineers and technical work staff worked for over 30 days without any break to deliver and supervise the installation of the 3 Bailey bridges. NSG also sourced the bridge and supervised installation of the 33-meter bridge at Buetica. NSG has reaffirmed their commitment to engage local contractors and professionals in Dominica, and in doing so, transfer technology and construction methodology to the local sector to further build capacity. Following Tropical Storm Erica, there was a need to accelerate the entire Roseau River works, bridge, dredging, and river wall work as soon as possible and ensure there was no repeat in the event of similar storms, such that no further lives are lost in Dominica, nor would the city of Roseau be placed in harm's way. The works within this project will be completed in large part by local contractors based upon their capacity, experience, and ability to execute the works within the time required by the project. It is already widely known that numerous local contractors, as well as service providers, are currently assisting NSG with the work on the ground in Dominica. As the project progresses, this local presence will increase and become evident to all. This commitment to the engagement of local contractors was an important consideration for the government. However, it was also of critical importance to the government that NSG has on staff here in Dominica civil engineers who individually have over 25 years of experience in building of bridges and large structures and are experts at planning and defining the resources needed to execute work and project management. It should be noted that the dredging work alone will provide work for many local excavation and trucking companies, as this work will include the removal of over 2,000 dump truck loads of material. Now, on the point of about dividing the project into numerous contracts, due to the close proximity of the project elements and the impact that the seamless execution of this work could have on the safety and productivity of each element, it is critical to centrally manage and coordinate the work in such a way to ensure the timely and efficient completion of the work. That is why, though theoretically attractive, the idea of issuing several different contracts was not recommended by any of the technical officials in the Ministry of Public Works or by several private professionals consulted. You could not have 3 or 4 contractors working in such a small and contained area with no single entity coordinating operations. That would have been chaotic and a recipe for disaster. Now, in respect to previous designs of bridge by Deso Supreme, the previous design works undertaken in 2005 were reviewed and found to be deficient in a number of areas. For example, the traffic study is outdated and needed to be redone with respect to the inclusion of the mobility derived from the new Friendship Bridge, that is the Chinese bridge. The increased volume of vehicular traffic since 2005 and the other future developments envisaged. The prior traffic study did not address alternatives analysis for public transport and means of reducing congestion and pollution in Roseau. The previous West Bridge design was based on the same profile and footprint as the existing bridge and did not seek to increase the volume of water flowing in the river. As evidenced by Tropical Storm Erica, the flow capacity led to serious damage to the existing bridge. During the design phase of the Roseau Enhancement Project, a thorough assessment of the West Bridge was conducted, which revealed major structural and material deficiencies. These deficiencies could have led to a catastrophic failure. The new design addresses multiple aesthetics matters as well as fundamental structural issues. It must be noted here that the majority of the design work for the new West Bridge was conducted by a local engineering firm, CEP, under the guidance of NSG project engineers. The 2005 design for the drainage system was not efficient and used expensive and time-consuming methods. Implementation of these plans would have led to extended disruptions to traffic and businesses within Roseau, with considerable loss of productivity and a negative impact on the households and businesses in Roseau. Now, On this issue of the treatment of local construction sector, the first responders after Tropical Storm Erica, the majority of government's works, or majority of the contracts were procured from local contractors, as evidenced by expenditure in excess of $13 million paid to local companies for cleanup after Tropical Storm Erica. And all of the contracts which will be signing tomorrow and Wednesday are local contractors. Government's commitment to the Public Works Corporation is evident. Over the years, the Public Works Corporation has been engaged on a number of projects. The corporation was provided with the opportunity to bid on 3 projects recently. The corporation will be awarded 2 contracts for roadworks in the Eggleston and Castle Comfort areas. Regards to the airport road structures, qualifications and experience of the service providers for the procurement evident. The bridges constructed on the airport road project referenced yesterday included only 1 new bridge, while the others were extensions and repairs to existing bridges. The new bridge was constructed by Gadakan Efis, whose principal is a non-resident. It is said that it is difficult to meet with policymakers. I, as Prime Minister, met with 2 contractors, likely representatives of the Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica, on April 4, 2006. In attendance were Mr. Anthony LeBlanc and Mr. Stuart Paris, while the government of Dominica was represented by myself as Prime Minister and the Minister for Public Works and Ports and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Planning. At the request from Mr. LeBlanc, the Minister for Public Works, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Works, and the Chief Technical Officer met with representatives of the Joint Consultative Committee on the Construction Sector on April 13, 2016. Mr. LeBlanc raised the issue of procurement and the need to provide opportunities for all local contractors. The Minister reminded the meeting of the commitment of the Prime Minister, reiterated at the April 4, 2016 meeting to work with local contractors. Other issues discussed included need for further training and certification of persons in the construction sector, and need to hire professionals from the Dominica Association of Professional Engineers and Dominica Society of Architects, already done to varying degrees. For example, construction supervision contracts, assessment and design to Mr. Biscom, Mr. Simon, and Mr. Trotter. Funding of the DCSI Secretariat was discussed briefly, as well as the need to focus on occupational health and safety in construction. A claim by Mr. LeBlanc that any of between 5 to 10 local contractors could have undertaken this full scope of works was quickly followed up with statements that joint ventures should be encouraged. He continued that a total of 4 joint ventures could have undertaken this work. These statements are clearly inconsistent and not factual. As a matter of fact, on my April 4, 2016 meeting with Mr. Paris and Mr. Anthony LeBlanc, we discussed the recent tenders for the farm roads, and they brought to my attention that a St. Lucian company outbidded them by a significant sum. For example, Mr. LeBlanc's company may have tendered for 2.7 million, while the St. Lucian company, I believe, 1.3 for the same lot. And I offered them the help in looking at how do they come about with the quantities and bidding against companies of that nature. So in conclusion, my dear friends, the attempt at controversy over the award of a contract for the new West Bridge is not entirely surprising. I said in my speech last Friday that we should wait and see how the initiative by the government is portrayed to the region and the world. It is left to citizens of this country to determine whether it is entirely coincidental that the official opposition has remained silent, but its mode of behavior has been employed by members of a professional body purporting to speak on behalf of the entire profession. Residents of communities surrounding the West Bridge were exposed to very grave danger in the event of further bad weather, given that another hurricane season is upon us. Emergency action had to be taken, and emergency action was taken to remedy the situation. The award of this contract did not expose Dominica to any regional or international fallout, as the funding is entirely local and the project contract is entirely consistent with the Procurement Act. There is absolutely no violation of the Procurement Act. We felt that in the circumstance of a number of emergency projects already underway across the nation, we needed a firm that would coordinate all needed works, a firm that had the technical expertise and the international links and connections to deliver a first world product to Dominica in record time. NSG was a company engaged, consulted, and eventually contracted based on its demonstrated professional work here in Dominica and the satisfied endorsements of several other governments across the region. One attraction of the NSG model is that it utilizes an enormous amount of local labor, local products, and local services. Several Dominican subcontractors would be recruited to undertake specialized area of work, but in circumstances where needed, technology and equipment is not available locally, the company is well placed to access such in rapid time. 12 months is a fair and reasonable time within which a project of this nature can be completed. The staff of the Ministry of Public Works and Ports has reported that it engaged in very transparent price validation and verification procedures. As a result of this exercise, the ministry was able to derive meaningful concessions from the contractor, and professionals in the ministry are willing to stand by and defend the contract price agreed to. It is amazing that persons could, on one hand, be saying the price agreed was too high, but in the same breath admit that they are not familiar with the true scope of works. If you are not familiar with the true scope of works, how could you therefore conclude that the price was too high? I wish to take this opportunity to appeal to Dominicans to give this project an opportunity to flourish and impact Dominica. We are racing against time. We cannot turn every effort at development into controversy and chaos. The hurricane season is upon us, and there is plenty work around for local contractors serious about working hard in the service of the nation. For example, I spoke yesterday of a number of contracts that were recently awarded and others that are about to be awarded to local contractors. Those contracts will be signed today, Tuesday, at 3 p.m. and tomorrow, Wednesday, and hopefully on Thursday as well, in excess of about 20 contracts, all going to local contractors on island. It is ironic that I am being accused of not championing the cause of local contractors when the very European Union Farm Road project under the banner accompanying measures cited by these two individuals was amended on my request to reflect a format that would enable these said contractors to qualify. If the European Union had insisted on keeping the farm roads as one lot, that is to say, all of the 10 farm roads were sent out in one tender dossier, there would have been not one contractor locally who would have qualified. What we did and we requested of the European Union, and they agreed, was to break these lots into 3 lots. Divide them into 3 lots. Lot 1, Lot 2, and Lot 3. And that's the only way local contractors could have qualified. And as a matter of fact, only 2 local contractors were able to qualify for to tender on the farm roads, notwithstanding the fact that we broke down the lots into 3 lots. Unfortunately, 3 companies, 1 from St. Lucia and 2 from Martinique, won the 3 lots. And I have said to the Builders and Contractors Association that the government is prepared to bring in an expert, a quantity surveyor, to assist them in looking at quoting for projects, because it was shocking to us that a St. Lucian company could have outbidded us locally by a significant sum. And we have to address this particular issue of how we local contractors tender for documents for projects both financed externally and locally by the government of Dominica. I shall end there and rest my case on this matter. Thank you.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit on the issue of the tendering process and responded to statements made yesterday. It's 1:35 tomorrow. I'll have the Local Contractors Association respond in detail to the Prime Minister. Let's find out if there are any initial responses. We'll try to get that when we come back right after this on Talk on the Block. And we'll take your phone call.
Corporation presents the highlight show of the 10th annual Mayfest. Kabuli Beer Mayfest International Artist Night at the Marigot Fisheries Complex on Sunday, May 1st, 2016 from 10 p.m. to daybreak. Heating up the stage, Solpus, King Carissa, King Dice, Ace of Banton, Swinging Stars, Dominica's international reggae star Divine, WCK, and the soca legend hailing from TNT, The Baron. The Baron. Hosted by Peter Prosper, with vibes by DJ Danger Dane and Unstoppable DJ Slim. Admission only $40 general, VIP $100. Don't miss it. Kabuli Beer Mayfest International Artist Night, May 1st, Marigot Fisheries Complex. Sponsored by Red Label Wine, Digicel Play, Happy Car Rental, Archipelago Trading, White Oak Rum, Country Style Bread, Prepost Enterprises, and Q95. With many thanks to Club DVD, Sound, Stage, and Lights.
What are your plans this Mother's Day? Here is an opportunity to recreate antiquated traditions and celebrate with the greatest women on the face of this earth. Sunday, May 8th, Mother's Day, the Extraordinary Network Digicel presents a sweet Mother Case Punch and Dance at the exquisite Anchorage Hotel from 6 p.m. to midnight. Sweet Sweet Mother's Kaiser Punch and Dance. Music by 48 Karat Gold Swinging Stars, Mr. Mix, DJ Sly, and Prince Wadix. Also special appearances by King Hunter, Sai, Shadow Flow.
There is no love to compare to my man.
And the record-breaking King Dice.
Teach me, mama, teach me, oh.
Mothers come and be serenaded by Calypsonians. Entrance $20. Ladies pay half price and get a free Tony's Punch on entrance.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sweet Mother Kaiser Punch and Dance is Sunday, May 8th, Mother's Day from 6 p.m. to midnight, Anchorage Hotel. Prizes from the amazing and extraordinary network Digicel and Digicel Play. Other partners include Dominica Promotion, Dominica Calypso Association, Anchorage Hotel, Media 7-Eleven Plus, and Milan's Bar and Grill. Also Big Edge Financial Express, Angels Boutique, Robinson, Starrin and Sons, Eves Decor, Express the Zil, TBS Radio, Q95 FM, The Big Station, Tony's Punch, Fine Foods Inc. and more. Bonne fête Mama, hot Digicel.
Festival Jazz and Creole de la Dominique, 15 mai 2016 au Parc National Cabritz. Sur scène, Nikeni Soft de Guadeloupe, Elan Parle de Trinidad, Andy Narel, Cameron Pierre, Brève et puis Cadence All Stars. Venez puis la famille, relaxez dans l'air fraîche de Fort Shirley en écoutant les mélodies douces de jazz créole. Présenté par le gouvernement de la Dominique et puis Discover Dominique Authority et Digicel. En expérience extraordinaire. Dimanche 15 mai 2016, Jazz and Creole de la Dominique. Visitez dominicafestivals.com en savoir plus.
This is Matt in the afternoon, if you will. Talk on the block. It's just getting hotter every day. As I said, I'm expecting the Joint Consultative Committee on the Construction Sector and the association with me tomorrow morning. But I imagine privileged to have on the line with me Mr. Leblanc. I asked him a few minutes ago off the record, what's the initial response to this 29 minutes or 28 minutes and 50-second statement from the Prime Minister? Mr. Leblanc?
Yes, Nat. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir.
What's your initial response to this? I know you will be in tomorrow morning speaking a little more, but what's your initial response to this?
Matt, my honest initial response is that in all that we do and say, we have to try hard to keep the respect for the office of Prime Minister.
So you're going to respect the office?
We're going to try as hard as we can and make it the priority to respect the office of the Prime Minister.
You know the Prime Minister said he's not going to dignify your letter with a response because you took it to the media. You know he said that.
Yeah, I listened to the entire 29 minutes and 30 seconds of saying I'm not responding to you by taking this amount of time to
Not to respond to you, huh?
Yes, by responding to us. But that's all I would say. Whatever we do and say, I will speak. I will continue to speak to our executive and committee members that in all we do and say, we respect the office of the Prime Minister.
We'll see you
for the sake of country.
For the sake of country. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
God willing.
God willing, yes.
Yeah.
God willing. Thank you very much, Mr. Libler. All right.
All right.
Talk to me on the telephone. But PM, why you did say that you'd not dignify this with a response, but your very statement was a response to the very letter. So I really don't understand what's going on. Hello.
Hey, Mr. Peltier, blessings, bro.
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Cool. It seems like I have a specific.
Yes, yes, but you can talk to us, blessings, quickly, because of course we did raise some monies for you this morning. We'll give you an official report, and we'll be talking to you. So everything is okay today?
Yeah, not really, but I just say I wanted to call and give thanks to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And because in the interest of time, I can't talk too much, but
what I'll tell you, the blessings, your voice is even cracking up there. I will call you tomorrow morning when you're rested, that we can talk a little more, okay?
Okay, God bless you.
I will have more information for you at that time.
God bless.
But I'll pass by a little later, okay?
All right, bro.
All right, take care now. Bye-bye. Hello.
Matt LT, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, my friend. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
Okay.
Matt LT,
Mm-hmm.
as I sat at my home and, from morning I was actually waiting to hear what the Prime Minister was going to say in relation to what the professionals said yesterday. But as I sat there a while ago and listened to that replay of the statement that he made this morning, I want to say one thing first to Mr. Lennox Linton. Sir, continue doing what you are doing at this time, because it seems that your silence is of major concern to Roosevelt Skerritt. So, sir, continue doing that. Secondly, Matt, I listened to Roosevelt Skerritt calling the name of a gentleman they call Stuart Paris. For the absence of doubt, Matt Peltier, this is my bigger brother. This is a gentleman that I've known all my life, who is a living example to myself and all the other siblings, to the community that he comes from, Marigot, to his church and Dominica by extension. He has made his mark regionally also. And he's a gentleman everybody in Dominica knows can defend himself. But I get the impression that Roosevelt Skerritt was saying that when he met with Mr. Libler, Mr. Stuart Paris, that he was offering them help as to the way to bid for projects. Matt, Roosevelt Skerritt need to be very careful, because you know what? I don't think Mr. Roosevelt Skerritt wants Stuart Paris to really get on the radio and to be in any kind of confrontation with him. I don't think he really wants this. What I want to say to Roosevelt Skerritt, so when people write statements for you, you need to be careful what you are reading. If you don't understand, ask them to explain. Because I'm telling you, now that you have spoken, although you said you're not going to dignify these gentlemen, I hope, really hope, that you can deal with what follows. Matt, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm getting some interesting comments here on WhatsApp. Somebody just said to me, Matt, Scared is just getting under my skin right now. Let's see if we can get another one here. Matt, the Prime Minister, say he not acknowledging or responding, and he spent 35 minutes in a response. So if he decided to really respond, we would have spent the entire day. 449-3095. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, based on what I've heard so far from the Prime Minister, it appears that was a justification report to justify giving the Barbados company, because he gave us a whole history, what they did post Erica and all kind of things. But interestingly, I don't know how much secrecy there is in a document that was, let's say, presented as a bidding document. But you cannot be calling people's name and the prizes they give you. If the person tendered and or company tendered and issued a prize or had a prize, I mean, what is that? And calling the person name associated with the tendering and the amount. I mean, what kind of Prime Minister we really have in Dominica? I mean, and calling the guy's name. Is this Anthony Leblanc, and calling the bid and giving a ridiculous figure as if that these guys have overbidding, right? And saying, in the same report that, based on how he feels about Dominicans, because we cannot bid properly, the same company that's coming there is looking for other, expertise to give them training as to how to bid. Do we have a bidding problem in Dominica? But we normally see a yellow, green, and white chalk there. Do they not have a problem with bidding? But they always on project. You do not call their names and their amount. Matt, Dominica is in trouble. Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon, too. Let's go back to the telephone. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
I am a little confused there about the Procurement Act that they are quoting in this matter. Procurement, you are talking about purchasing. The building of a bridge has to do with structural engineering, as I don't know if I'm correct. Procurement and structural engineering are two different things. Procurement is to buy, to purchase. And do the persons who want to build the bridge have the expertise in structural engineering? So that is a question I'm asking. What does the Procurement Act, have to do with building of a bridge?
Thank you. And of course, you can do a little research too on the company NSG Management and Technical Services Limited. What are their expertise? NSG Management and Technical Services Limited out of Barbados. Hello, do some research on that one and find out where the expertise lie. Hello. I guess I didn't get a phone call. Are you there?
Yes, Matt Espelte Jr., I am right here.
Yes.
Matt, Matt, I always try to be a little different, not confrontational, Matt. Two observations, Matt. This morning, Matt, you could not get into the live feed, but Kyrie could, DBS could, and so could DA Vibes.
Because they said they were coming. Oh, hold on. Let me just clarify. They said they were coming on at 8 o'clock. They came on about 8:15, and I decided to move on. That was just what happened. Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, Matt, here we are talking about $18 million contract given to his friends in Barbados, Matt, without tendering. Now, for the lady that talk about procurement and Procurement Act, Matt, a little learning is a dangerous thing, Matt. And it is, it is said you should not cast pearls before swine, lest they trample on it, Matt. Matt, the Public Works Department, going back to, Matt, to the Transinsular Road, Matt, and every bridge that has been built in Dominica, except for an occasion when the U.S. helped us to build some bridges, Matt, has been built by Dominicans and the Public Works Department, Matt. In fact, Matt, those $18 million to build that bridge should have been a contract for the Public Works. If there was need for subcontracting work, that should have been done by the Public Works Department. So there is no kind of explanation Roosevelt can use to justify enhancing the Barbados economy, reducing unemployment in Barbados and increasing unemployment in Dominica, helping to grow the Barbados economy while the Dominican economy is in decline, repaying political favors for campaigning, and as he said, he had friends, the friendly governments. I want to know if the Barbados government is one of those friendly governments that interfered in the internal politics of Dominica. If it's so, I would like Mr. Stewart, the Prime Minister of Barbados, to give an explanation, to deny or confirm. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Matt, good afternoon to you.
How are you, my brother?
Very fine, thank you, and good afternoon to your listeners. When I listen to the Prime Minister, all I hear is, you hear lies? That is lie. You hear lies? That is lie. Matt, look at what Erica did to Dominica. We are not opposed to foreigners coming to our shore to seek employment or to get jobs, Matt. We are not opposed to that. That's not the point at all. Because a lot of us Dominicans, we are leaving our country and we are going over there to seek employment. We cannot be in a crisis, Matt, for the Prime Minister to take all that money and to go and put it in a Bajan hand to come and do bridge in Dominica, Matt. It's not fair. Public Works have made a meaningful contribution to the development of Dominica, Matt. And we all know that. Look at E.A. Charles. There are so many competent people who could do that bridge for us for less. Yet what we see, no tendering, because Hartley Henry is one of the main advisor to Roosevelt Skerrit. So it's an underneath thing that's taking place there. No consultation. Dominicans just come by Papa, dance, CO, but no job for you, no money for you. Dominicans need, it's not Skerrit that, I don't blame it's Skerrit for that, you know. Dominicans, I blame it because I have a lot of countries, man, they wish they were a democratic country to stand up. We need boots on the ground like 1979. Enough is enough.
Caller, thank you. Somebody says the best word for the PM's response is oxymoron. 1:56 is the afternoon time. We don't have too much time, but we'll continue in the morning. Hello.
Matthias, Battley, Pointrong, and Makushri, 3 bridges built by locals. Those 3 bridges, they only heard the river coming down and they all fell down, Matt.
Peter, I see you going after the local engineers. Peter, how long these bridges have been in existence?
But the previous caller said they were all built by locals. We want a lifetime warranty when you build a bridge in Dominica. We don't want a bridge to only hear the river coming down and it decided falling down.
The bridge built by the Chinese sometime last year, how long did it last, Peter?
It held its own.
It held its own. All right, 1:57, hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Matt.
Yes.
Yes, Matt, to be honest, I only heard about 4 minutes of the Prime Minister's response. One of the things we need to recognize, and the Prime Minister needs to do so, is that it's a government project. And I personally not interested to a large extent whether a local get the job or a foreigner. What is critical in tendering is that you get the best price. So the savings can be used by government for other critical projects. Look, the road in Anzime is falling apart on both sides. You need serious backhaul there to save the road. If you tender the project, you can get money to do those things there. And I want to ask the Prime Minister, he's aware of that. Several years ago, there was a tendering for the living quarters of the custom building in Portsmouth. It was given by the technocrats in the Ministry of Public Works to a specific individuals. A few days later, they called him and tell him, sir, I'm sorry, but they say not to give it to you, and it was given to somebody else. So that they in the ministry have been doing a lot of makwakwi, the ministry involving government. They tender and they still take it and give it to who they want. So the critical aspect of this is that even if you tender higher, if you tender low, the government give the contract to who they want. So we want transparency in tendering, and we want tendering process to continue, whether we get it locally or the foreigners get it. The country will benefit. Thank you.